Hey there everybody, today we've got another fat bike review just for you guys. We're gonna take a look at the Surly Wednesday. Is this your next winter bike purchase? Find out what I like and dislike about the Surly Wednesday in this video. Welcome back, Pathless Peddlers, and if you're new to the channel, if you're a bike nerd that loves bike touring, bike packing, gravel riding, and bike fishing, then definitely subscribe. This channel is for you. So last week I reviewed the Kona Whoa, and it really set me down this path of being curious about fat bikes. So I reached out to the folks at Surly to see if I could get a Surly Wednesday to review, and no response. However, it's a bike that I've been really curious about ever since I rode the Kona Whoa, and I happen to have a friend in town here in Missoula, Montana that has a Wednesday that's sort of my size. So I asked him really nicely if I could borrow it for a couple days to review it for you guys on the channel, and he said yes. So this is my review of a borrowed Surly Wednesday. This bike is a little bit large for me. After riding it, I do totally acknowledge that I should be on a small, so it's gonna kind of bias how I felt on the bike. And another thing, this bike is not stock. It is definitely not stock. My friend Toffer really spared no expense with some of the components, so he really pimped the Surly Wednesday out. So with that said, let's do a general overview of Toffer's Wednesday. Starting at the cockpit, you'll notice these really cool handlebars. These are the Bull Moose bars by Nitto. I love that kind of gentle arcing sweep. It really puts the hands in a comfortable position. However, for me, the stem length is equivalent to about 90 millimeters. So it's a little bit long for my ideal length, but if it does fit you, I can see these bars being awesome. In terms of controls, the brake levers are by Paul Components. And the bike is set up on by, so the shifter is a thumb shifter, which I believe is by Microshift. Other nice touches is the golden saddle stem cap, the Chris King headset, and I believe that's the 24-pack rack from Surly, outfitted with a very large walled 139 basket. Moving a little bit further down, it's also outfitted with the Pico Painters by Outer Shell Adventure. Right, so moving towards the back end of the bike, you'll see the crankset is not the stock double. It has a single chainring in the front by Wolf Tooth Components in this cool kind of red color that matches the Chris King headset. And for the brakes on the bike, it is outfitted with the Paul Clamper disc brakes, which are beautiful to look at. They've got a nice kind of industrial look to them, and they also have awesome stopping power. And finally, to the saddle area, it's got a Thompson seat post with some setback and a Brooks Cambium saddle. Other things to note about this bike is that you'll notice it has the full array of braze-ons. So it's got braze-ons for a rear rack and clearly a front rack. And of course the drillings for things like a anything cage. For tires on the back of the bike, there is the Dunder Beast tire by 45 North, and the front has the front specific Flow Beast. So during my time with the bike, I was riding with the tires set to about 5 PSI, which seemed pretty good for the conditions we were having here in Missoula. I rode it on some snowy double track and snowy single track. In terms of ride quality, I can't really give something super conclusive because, like I said in the beginning, the bike is a little bit large for me and it's set up a little bit long. But generally speaking, it was a fun bike. I liked the feel of the rear end. It felt kind of tucked in beneath me. Some bikes you feel like you're kind of slung in between this really long kind of yacht-like hammock. But with the Wednesday, I felt on top of the rear wheel, so given the right conditions and probably the right setup, it would feel a lot more nimble. So in terms of the front end of the bike, the way it's currently set up, which is a little bit long for my taste, it felt fine on the double track and other road-like conditions. But once I hit the single track, I felt like I was getting a little bit more wheel flop than I wanted, and that it took a little bit more input to steer the bike. So part of this feeling could be a function of just the weight on the bike. I was riding with a rack, a basket, and the Pico Painters. But I also think the longer than usual stem length kind of put my weight a little bit far forward and just generally kind of made that front end steering not as lively and snappy as I would like. And that said, I did ride it down some snowy single track and did fine. And I think given enough time, I'd probably get used to it. But compared to the Whoa, I felt like the Whoa just felt snappy and nimble right out of the box for me. And the Surly Wednesday, on the other hand, it felt a little bit more tiller-like in the way it's set up right now. That could change if I was on the small and had a shorter stem length, or if there wasn't as much weight on the front. So really hard to say, but I'm trying my best. So what are the things that I like and dislike about the Surly Wednesday? One big like is the aesthetics. Aside from the really primo parts that my friend put on the bike, I do love the look of just the smaller diameter steel tubing. Even though it's probably heavier than the Kona Wo, it just looks visually a lot more svelte. Another thing I really liked about the Surly Wednesday is that it's outfitted for adventure. If you want a Brazon, it probably has it. It's got the full array in the front, Brazons on the back. So it's definitely a bike that you can use for trail riding, but if you want to take it on a bike packing adventure, there's going to be no shortage of places to bolt things down to on the bike. And the third like is the ride quality with an asterisk. It was a fun bike. The front end was a little bit weird, to be honest, but the rear end felt nice and tucked. I'd love the opportunity to ride a small version with a shorter stem just to see how the bike is really meant to ride. So I'm gonna leave that as a tentative like. So that's it for my likes. How about the dislikes? So the first big dislike is the weight. Like I said for the likes, it looks lightweight with the smaller tubing, but it's a noticeably heavier bike compared to the aluminum Kona Wo. Particularly in this build, it's hard to say if the bike were naked, but there were definitely hills that I tried to ride up with this bike that I couldn't quite get up and over that I could with the Wo. And another dislike, again with an asterisk, is kind of the feeling of the front end. I think the way that this bike is set up right now, being a little bit longer for me, it would make an awesome bike packing bike if you're just doing gravel roads and forest roads and stuff. But it's not my favorite handling bike on a trail in this current configuration. Again, that could change given the smaller size and shorter stem, but for me, that is a dislike with an asterisk. So overall, I really did enjoy this bike. I think it's awesome value for the price. You get a bike that's really capable of bike packing adventures that'll take racks if you want to put it on there. I think right now, if I had to decide between the Kona Wo and the Surly Wednesday in this current configuration, for me personally, I think I would lean towards the Kona Wo. Again, it could change if I were on a better fitting Surly Wednesday. That might bring up more ride qualities of the bike that I would enjoy. But right now, just comparing this Wednesday and the Wo I reviewed last week, given that they're about the same price MSRP, I would probably lean towards the Wo just for ride quality. But if I wanted a bike that I would use for touring and potentially winter commuting with panniers and a rack and what have you, I would definitely probably go Wednesday. So trail riding, the Kona Wo, commuting and touring, probably the Wednesday. So that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. I know it's not the most ideal bike review because I wasn't riding a bike that fit me particularly well, but I'm trying my best. I'm trying to get a hold of bikes every week. Trust me, lots of emails go out. A lot of them go unanswered. So if you guys have any other questions, leave those in the comments below. And if you like the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hitting that subscribe button actually does a lot. It'll show to potential brands I'm reaching out to that yes, there's an audience that's interested in these videos, which in turn means I can get more product to review for you guys. So if you can't support the channel financially, I totally understand that, but be sure to hit that subscribe button so I can get more leverage to make more content. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.